So if you've never seen this before, you may be asking yourself, what the heck? Oh, you look like you were like, pissed off. Hey, listen, we're here to give you tips to help you love the way you look, feel, and live. Dylan's hitting it, and then start. Everyone should know by now. Give me the judgy eyes. So, there's a little. What's up, everybody? It's Billy from Performance Unlimited, and yes, I am back with another tip to help you love the way you look, feel, and live. That's what we're all about, right? Helping you live your best life. And today we're back with part 3 of exercises you should probably be doing. If you're like, what the heck is he talking about? That means you haven't watched part 1 and part 2, and you should go back and do that first. But if you've seen those and you're back, we got a great one for you today on a key exercise that we use with a ton of clients, and that is our single leg box squat. So let's show you a couple reps here.
Feeling you so close to make me drive around. Everlasting love, so much to go around. You got me so high, I can't come down.
If you've never seen that before, you may be wondering, what the heck did I just see? What was that even? And I'm here to tell you there's more than meets the eye. This is a huge and important exercise that we're programming for the vast majority of our clients for 2 main reasons. First thing is what we call single leg strength. We are firm believers in this. Here's why. If you are walking, if you are running, if you are changing directions, you are sprinting, if you're picking stuff up off the floor, you're grabbing your kids to get it up, you're doing any of those things, guess what? You're often gonna find yourself on one leg, of bending down, putting your weight into one side. So you gotta have the strength to do this. If you're an athlete, I'm telling you, your ability to get in and out of a cut relies on your strength in a single leg position. So why train everything bilaterally or think of things like back squats along those lines? Single leg strength is a major KPI for us athletically and for all of our adult clientele. And that feeds right into the next piece. If you go into any of your local gyms, I'm sure you're gonna find a couple things. There's a majority of people squatting with their feet together in the classic squatting pattern we see. We do this too, right? So I'm not saying it's bad, believe me, it's not. But we also believe in what the single leg stance does. It challenges you from a hip stability and a core stability to be able to manage what your hips are doing in space. So again, go back to our first piece. If you're an athlete or just a person doing basic daily tasks, you need that stability throughout. And talk about bang for your buck. Oftentimes as your strength improves, you gotta resort to things like barbells and weights on your backs or maybe at your shoulders, wherever it may be. Well, I'm gonna show you here, and I'm gonna challenge you to try this. You're gonna find you don't need quite as much weight to get the most out of these exercises. So for us, less loading on the spine, less loading in other positions that people might not actually be able to do appropriately. So let's get ourselves into this and talk through. So I have our box here. I mean, again, you can use a variety of things that's going to give you some height. I have this set at a predetermined height, but you can start lower. Again, it's a simple way to make this harder, more challenging, or easier with that. So I'm gonna start at this height here, and we'll talk through ways that you can start, but let me show you the exercise first. So one leg is up, other leg is down. Now people ask all the time, why not like a pistol squat, right? You've probably seen the pistol squat before. We feel like with that leg in front, there is a massive hip flexor component to it. A lot of people can't even stand with that up, and it's challenging. And I don't want you to feel like you're jamming up here. So by standing up on a box here, this leg hanging down, I'm not challenging that. That just gets to hang there freely. Second piece, we like to start with the hand reach in front because that helps us push the hips behind. But don't worry about the knee coming in front of the toes. That's the old adage, knees can't go in front of the hip. No, right? That's 1980 stuff. It's okay for the knee to work its way forward. So as I'm here, I'm up, I'm gonna slowly reach in front as I drop into this to tap that heel and then work myself back up. Doing as best I can to maintain my torso angle, nice and tall. It's like I'm squatting down in a phone booth. So I'm working my way forward, sink, 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 tap, working my way back up with that. Again, squatting down within that phone booth. A couple things to pay attention to if I was working here. You want to be careful of that knee working its way in. Keep that centered up as you work to drop down and back up. So what do I do if I can't actually do that? So let's talk through some ways to make it more challenging and make it easier for you so it's appropriate for you. First is this, height. Change the height. You can even hold on to something in front of you, whether it's a TRX, whether that's a pole or something to lower down. One of our best progressions is focus on the eccentric portion or the lowering portion. So I'm gonna really control. Boom, I'm down. Now I put my weight on this leg to push myself up, because the up is often where people get stuck. So it's control, tap, push to help me get up. Then, as you get better, more efficient within this, use less of a push off. If you want to make it more challenging, you can even add load on top. Think weight vest, think a weight in front of you. There's ways that you can add load to this exercise to make it challenging. So easiest ways to make it easier, harder. Height. People say, well, how high should I go? Again, I don't think you need to get into a crazy range of motion that low. I think something like this where you see as I work to the bottom, I'm just above like parallel here. It's a good spot for you to think about getting from a height perspective there. Lower, easier it becomes. Then focus on the lowering portion. Use a push off to get yourself up. From there, go to just a toe tap. From there, go to a heel tap, and then you can start to add load to you if you need it. So who should and should not be doing this exercise? So again, do no harm is rule number one. So if you have pain, please do not do this exercise, right? If there's pain with anything, find an alternative. Do no harm. Second piece, any sort of knee issue, current knee issue, anything else along those lines, this may be something you want to play around with, the height and the depth that you're actually going to. Stay with the progression that is appropriate and makes sense for you. Don't go to the full exercise if there's something else going on. Some people that lack a little bit of ankle dorsiflexion or just ankle range of motion for that matter may struggle with something like this. So a small tip is to put a plate, put something to elevate your heel up. That might actually help you think about squatting within that phone booth and be able to work through a good full range of motion. Just a small tip as you're working through. Come on, I know what you're gonna ask next. Great, Billy, looks good, sounds good, got the tips. Where do I put this in my workout? Right, I've never done it before, where's it go? So there's a couple ways to look at this. Again, this is one of our main strength training exercises that we use for clients. It's one of our big dogs. So there's a couple things, and it depends a little bit on where we want to focus, but if we're thinking more strength oriented from a single leg standpoint, we might shoot from anywhere between 3 to 6 repetitions, and again, finding the appropriate level of progression for that client. If we got someone who's maybe new to it, we want to get a little bit more volume in, we might be shooting for that 8 to 10 or 8 to 12 range for repetitions on each side at the appropriate level of progression for them. Those are usually the 2 rep ranges that you'll see something like the single leg squat. For sure, you can do it a little bit higher rep, and you can even potentially do it a little bit lower. You can use, again, any of our tools. I talked about the eccentric earlier, like slow and controlled. So let me tell you how we usually start a client. We will start with the eccentric, getting them to control it and own it on the way down. We'll start with maybe something along 3 to 5 reps of 3 seconds on the way down. We might then progress some of the time on the way down. Once they got a solid base, we feel good about it, then we'll bump up to typically 6 to 10 repetitions on each side, and as they get stronger, the repetitions will go lower, and we'll start to think about a little bit more load added on. I hope that helps understand, okay, where does it go? Again, this is a bang for your buck exercise, and I strongly encourage you to give this a try. It's not as easy as it looks, and in a lot of ways, we think it serves a more important purpose than just putting a bunch of weight on your back and working through it. There's so many things that are involved in this. So, if this was helpful, let us know. If there's some other exercises that you're like, hey, I've seen this as well, it kind of looks like maybe it's in the same realm as this, what do you think? Send those to us, comment below. We want to give you all the content that you need to make your workouts the best they can possibly be. We hope you're finding these helpful. It's a ton of great information around why we're programming and what we're programming for our clients here at Performance Unlimited. We look forward to seeing you back for part 4 of exercises you should be doing.